Good morning. Thank God it's Friday and today is Valentine's Day, February 14, 2025. And of course, we are on this site of Inside Nigeria, your on Leadership Television, your breakfast show on leadership. My name is Winifred Gbebo, once again your host on the program, and it sure feels good to be hosting you on this Valentine's Day. Spread love around, not war, not fight. As we normally do on the program, we are reviewing front headline stories of some select newspapers, including Nigeria's foremost Friday newspaper, Leadership Friday. Let's go there. Let's see what Leadership has on its menu this Friday, Valentine's Day. It says 2027 gang up. ACF, Afenifere renews stance on rotational presidency. 2027 gang up since the election has started, although has already flagged up this year 2025. ACF, Afenifere renews stance on rotational presidency. ACF is a Arewa consultative forum. Afenifere is also a Southwest, that is Yoruba, cultural organization and social organization too. Afenifere renews stance on rotational presidency. Not kingmaker can't produce president alone. Arewa group. There's understanding between North South coming from Afenifere. Let's see a snippet of that story on page 4 on Leadership Friday. It said with possible political realignments and potential coalitions ahead of the 2027 elections, the leading regional bodies of the North and the Southwest have restated their positions on the issue of rotational presidency and power shift. The Northern APEC Socio-Cultural Organization, Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, has thwarted the notion that the region was the ultimate kingmaker which could give victory to any presidential candidate of his choosing. ACF further traced former President Goodluck Jonathan's defeat in the 2015 presidential poll to his policies rather than a gang up by the North as widely speculated in certain quarters. On its part, the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Cultural and Socio-Political Organization, Afenifere, has disclosed that there was an understanding for rotation of presidency between the North and the South. It, however, noted that the spate of defections for the opposition does not indicate that the incumbent President Bola Tinubu will lose the presidency in 2027. The All Progressives Congress APC National Chairman Dr. Abdullahi Omar Garduje had on Tuesday reignited the perennial debate about power shift and rotational presidency when he told the North to forget about contesting the 2027 presidential election. Is already heating up for 2027 polls, both presidential and global polls. And the ACF Afenifere renewed stance on rotational presidency. Of course, there's been a lot of alignments and realignments this year alone, especially towards the twilight of 2024. Still on Leadership Friday, we have other stories on the cover today. NAS passes 54.99 trillion naira 2025 budget. NSA berates Canadian embassy for denying CDS, that is Chief of Defense Staff, orders visas. The story is on page 15 of Leadership newspaper. Of course, the trending story has been on social media that the CDS and others were denied visa to Canada to actually grace the Prince Harry's. Let's take a snippet of that story. The Defense Quarters has officially established Operation Safe Corridor. No, sorry, this is not the story. The story is actually on page 15 of Leadership Friday. Let's just go there because it's a trending story. It's a story that has been on the social media since yesterday. And it says, the National Security Advisor, NSA, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, has described the Canadian embassy's denial of visas to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and other senior military officers as disrespectful. At the maiden annual lecture of the National Association of the Institute for Security Studies in Abuja, Ribadu said the country can, in quotes, can go to hell. Ribadu stated that the visa denial was a reminder of why citizens must work hard to improve the country. Thank you for the courage to say Canada denied you visa. They can go to hell, Ribadu declared. Even though it's painful and disrespectful, we remain peaceful and strong. I agree with you. It is time to fix our country. Yet, this is another reason we must work hard to make Nigeria better, he said. That is a snippet from that story. It's a trending story actually. It was due to attend this Invictus game. That is a retired military personnel games that was introduced by the Prince Harry to commemorate retired personnel. And the chief of defense staff was denied visa because it's actually taking place in Canada. Still on front headline stories on Leadership Friday. Minimum wage must be implemented in FCT area councils. Coming from the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike. Defense headquarters launches operation to rehabilitate former bandits in Northeast. This story is on page 4 of Leadership Friday. 3 passengers arrested on Air Peace London-Lagos flight. Page 20 is where you have the story, and of course online too. We move over to Leadership Gold Standards Awards picture series, which has been gracing the cover of Leadership as a countdown to the Leadership Conference Awards, which is going to take place in this first quarter of the year. However, Leadership's countdown on the awardees. This today we have the Vice Chairman Leadership Group Limited, Mr. Mike Okwere, presenting award nomination letter to Enugu State Governor Peter Umba as the Governor of the year 2024 at the Government House Enugu yesterday. And the Governor in response says this award is a reflection of our commitment to Enugu's development. Congratulations to the Enugu State Governor. And from that cover story, we move to the page 3 of the paper where we have our stand. Today's stand is on essence of Valentine's Day. Today is February 14. Of course, all across the world is celebrated. They say love has no language, and today truly it has not, considering the fact that every year this February 14, the day is celebrated and commemorated with love. And let's have a snippet of that editorial. Today is remembered in most parts of the world as a day to celebrate love, especially the romantic type. So love letters, lunch and dinner days, exchanges of gifts, love declarations, love and marriage propositions, and all manner of love expressions, including illicit ones which are completely antithetical to the essence of Valentine's Day, are part of the celebratory mix for many people. There are, of course, several people who commendedly mark today by reaching out to the poor and underprivileged with food, clothes, and other necessities. These are part of today's commemoration of Valentine's Day, and the stand is on essence of Valentine's Day. Of course, it's an editorial you don't wish to miss. Find out what is the essence of Valentine's Day. From that page 3, we move to the back page where we have Friday's conversation with Azu. Azu Isekwene is the editor-in-chief of Leadership Newspapers Limited. And today's conversation is writing on understanding the nonsense about state creation. Understanding the nonsense about state creation. Conversations from Azu Isekwene. And in quote, all 10 National Assemblies since 1999 have never failed to mention and pursue the creation of more states. Quotes from that conversation, understanding the nonsense about state creation. From that, we move to Ghana Must Go. Ghana Must Go news. It says, I wouldn't be widow if Akeredolu had listened to me. Talking about the widow of the late Ondo State Governor Akeredolu, Rotimi Akeredolu, and that's coming from the wife. And of course, Ghana Must Go says we should ask him. This on that note we conclude review of Leadership Friday this Friday. Don't forget to log on to the website for more stories and continuation of these stories. www.leadership.ng. From Leadership we move to Vanguard newspaper. Vanguard says banks limiting ATM withdrawal below 20,000 naira, fake CBN penalty. Banks limiting ATM withdrawal below 20,000 naira face CBN penalty. And in quotes coming from the CBN circular, any bank that compares a customer with sufficient funds in his or her account to withdraw less than 20,000 naira per transaction against the customer's desire for a higher sum would be contravening this regulation spirit and sanctioned appropriately. CBN circular once again. However, yes, of course, this circular is appropriate and timely to considering the fact that most ATMs in Nigeria today, especially ATMs that are not from other banks apart besides yours, only guarantee 5,000 withdrawal for at most for each transaction. So with this CBN saying that banks are charging 100 naira per 20,000 naira withdrawal, does that mean that you have to pay 100 naira? This circular is actually timely and appropriate. Still on Vanguard newspaper, telecoms MTN backpedals reverses 200% data tariff hike. Labour demands sanctions over alleged impunity. Telecoms MTN backpedals reverses 200% data tariff hike. Labour demands sanctions over alleged impunity. We have the Southwest governors meet in Lagos, and we have the from left Senator Ademola Adeleke from Osun, Prince Dapo Abiodun Ogun, the chairman Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu Lagos, Mr. Seyi Makinde Oyo, Mr. Biodun Oyebanji Ekiti, and Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa Ondo during their zonal alignment and realignment for the forthcoming. No 3,907 firearms missing from police armories coming from force headquarters. Of course, this is a developing story. The National Assembly has summoned the IG to answer for the missing 3,907 assault rifles, which was reported in 2019 audit carried out by the Auditor General of the Federation. Senate asks federal government to repair bad roads nationwide. We move to sports. 2025 under-20 AFCON. Flying Eagles in group of death. In quotes. That takes us to the stories above the masthead of Vanguard. Oyetola reaffirms commitment to marine resource development. National Assembly passes 54.9 trillion naira 2025 budget. Visa denier. Ribadu defense chief says Canada can go to hell. 1949 massacre of coal miners. Families sue federal government, UK government, others. And that also brings to an end the review of front headline stories on Vanguard this Friday, Valentine's Day. Don't forget to log on to the website to read more on these stories. And from that, we move to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is THISDAY. THISDAY says National Assembly passes 54.99 trillion naira 2025 appropriation bill. Statutory transfers over 3 trillion naira. We have recurrent expenditure 13 trillion naira plus, capital expenditure 23 trillion naira, debt servicing 14 trillion naira, fiscal deficit 13.08 trillion naira, additional 700 billion naira to fund terminated US health sector in support. With just like we had in Vanguard, we also have the same picture of the Southwest Governors Forum. They are meeting in Lagos, and that is what the picture we have on this day. Just towards the masthead, we are battle ready for ISWAP spread. Southwest Governors warn terrorist group. Obviously, this news emanated from that meeting in Lagos. We are battle ready for ISWAP spread. Southwest Governors warn terrorist group. Each state to appoint special advisors on security, establish joint surveillance monitoring. Say Tinubu's policies yielding results. Fallout from the Southwest Governors Forum. They said we are battle ready for ISWAP threat. Southwest Governors, the warn of terrorist group. From that, we move to the story above the masthead of THISDAY. Lokobiri meets Afrexim Bank President Orama over planned takeoff of $5 billion energy bank. Pledges level playing ground for all oil sector players. Ribadu to Canada, go to hell if you can't respect Nigeria's military high command. However, the Canadian government the Canadian embassy said they will also make their views known Of course, obviously, why they denied CDS and others visas. This on that note, we conclude review of these day newspapers today, this Friday. Don't forget to log on to the website to read more on the stories. From this day, we move to the Punch. The Punch launching story this Friday. 54.99 trillion naira budget. Experts list funding hurdles as debt servicing takes 14 trillion naira. Lawmakers approved 344.85 billion naira for themselves. Salaries, overheads, gob huge share of budget. Just like other papers before it, except leadership, we have a picture again of Southwest Governors Forum during that meeting yesterday. Catholic Church warns against Sharia expansion to Southwest. Military kills 133 terrorists, recovers aircraft engines in Borno. Loan controversy on Onasanyan defense served in court. Beside the masthead of the Punch, Northwest communities blame fresh killings on troops withdrawal. And above the masthead of the Punch, Southwest governors plan joint operation against ISWAP terrorists. Federal government envoys slam Canada for denying military chiefs visas. Yahoo boys now involved in ritual killings, banditry, EFCC check. Is on that note, we also conclude front headline stories on the Punch. But just before we go, I forgot to mention the last story actually beside the masthead of the Punch. Northwest communities blame fresh killings on troops withdrawal. Northwest communities blame fresh killings on troops withdrawal. The story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper, and that also concludes review of front headline stories on the Punch this Friday. Don't forget to log on to the website of the Punch to read more on the stories. And from the Punch, we move to the last paper we have on our menu this Friday, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun says 54.9 trillion naira budget prioritize infrastructure. Manufacturers tell federal government 2025 budget. Southwest governors to form team to tackle terrorism, food insecurity. Tinubu approves 50 doctors, 100 nurses for prison inmates. Nigeria strengthens aviation cow symposium in Abu Dhabi. Delta CP seeks investigation into alleged attack on policemen by Air Force personnel. Just beneath the masthead of Daily Sun, judiciary workers threaten strike over minimum wage, issue 7-day ultimatum. And beside the masthead, Senate wants Northeast included in superhighway project. Urges Tinubu to address deplorable roads across Nigeria. That concludes the review of front headline stories on Daily Sun this Friday. For more, log on to www.thesun.ng. So it's also on this note we bring to an end Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. Thank you so much for joining us on this Valentine's Day. And like I said earlier in the program, spread love, not hate. And that is where we draw the curtain. My name is Winifred Ugbebo. Don't forget to join us for news on the hour on this station. Thanks once again for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.